Hi guys, Cathal here from Hill Farm and welcome back to another video. We've been super busy this week. Myself and John have been really hitting it hard, and we have been clearing out the polytunnel from all the winter bedding, and we've also been getting the broilers bedded into their new home. So let's take a look at what we've been up to. Okay, so this is our tunnel. We've basically cleared out all of this and we're on the home stretch. We've got, there's a good 10 more cubic meters in here yet. You can see this is the area where the roosts were, so there's a lot of nitrogen in this bit. I'm only actually going to put in about half of this tunnel in beds. We're probably going to come over halfway is going to be our bed, and we're going to put this half in bed. So I left about 2 inches of material here. You can see this is about 2 inches before you get down to the clay floor or bottom, and I done that just because we'll put compost back in on top of that, and that can rot down and give a bit of extra nutrients to the stuff we're growing here. This side here then we're just going to cover with wood chip. I just want to have a nice spare inside area. We're running a lot of trainings on the farm and tours on the farm, hopefully in the summer. So we'll have our marquee on the other side. You'll be able to see it outside the door there when we put it up in the summer. But in case we need more indoor covered area, if the weather's wet, we'll have this as well that we can use, hopefully. But yeah, I'll just show you where we're putting this. Material's really rich. Now this dark material here, this was a bed last year, so that's some compost that was left behind. But we're wheeling it and shoveling it by hand. It's a lot of work, but it's a good workout. It's good to get a nice workout like that early in the summer, and gets us fit for the farm. We've been wheeling it over here and making, which is probably one of the things I'm most proudest of, I think, to date on the farm. Check out my compost pile. That's going to be a beast, and it's going to be just a mountain of nutrients. So we're really closing the nutrient cycle on the farm, and this stuff has a lot of breaking down to do yet. We get this guy to focus, but there's a lot of nitrogen and wood chip. It doesn't really smell too bad. It smells like we've got the balance pretty close. There's a few areas, particularly under the roots maybe, that were a bit heavier in nitrogen than we would like, but hopefully this will even out. Now that we've got it into a nice mass, this can start to compost, because we need the volume now. We're not trying to be expert composters here. If we were, we would be turning this more often. I've seen some people do is they put drainage pipe through the middle, which allows air to go in. That's very clever. I'm not too fussed. I'm not trying to make the world's best compost here. We're going to make this into a pile. We're going to cover it over, and we're going to just let it sit. It'll sit till the autumn, and maybe even next spring again. It'll sit as long as it needs, and we'll use this for top and upper garden beds, and we'll also spread it on the pasture. But it's a massive nutrient source that we're producing in-house, and that makes me really happy. I feel like we've actually accomplished something here in our nutrient cycle, closing that. So we've still got another, I reckon there's about 20 cubic meters there. We've got another maybe 10 to go, and then that will rot down more, it will break down more. I think I should end up with at least 20 cubic meters of decent quality compost. And this is all totally organic. It's just wood chip and chicken poo, so it should be clean from weed seeds. It should be just good quality stuff. Now we've taken down all our roosts and our nest boxes for the winter housing, and we're going to store them away now. We've washed them all down, cleaned them all out, so we'll store them away nicely, and we'll take them out again in the autumn. I've got a delivery timber. This is for various projects we've got happening in the next couple of weeks. Sorry about the light, guys. I got to build more fences, and we got to make feeders from the pipe. Sorry, not fences. I got to build gates for the fence. I built the deer fence. I still haven't put gates in it, so I've got about 7 or 8 gates to build. Then we got to make a gobbledygook and a little mobile shelter for the sheep. So that's going to be happening over the next few weeks, and I'll show you that as we do it. We're just in the brooder here with the second batch. Again, we've done a batch 200, and these guys are on day 16, so they're 16 days old. They're just over 2 weeks old. They'll be going out in about 5 days time. And as you can see, we've got the heat lights well up. The heat lights are still on day and night, but we'll soon be just turning them on at night. And this batch is doing pretty good. You can see they're starting to build up in the sunlight over there. But once the sun goes down, they'll all spread out around the lights, and they'll be happy out. And you can see here we could get a variance in size. So we've got this little guy and this monster, and they're both the exact same age, access to the same everything. That's just the genetics, and that's down to the quality of the hatchery that you're getting from, that you get an even batch. But that's life. You're going to have bigger ones. Some are going to be roosters, some are going to be hens, and we sell a range of size of birds to allow for that. But this brooder's been working really well, and I'm really happy with it. Now the bedding in here is starting to build up some biological activity. Our mortality in this batch is actually quite similar to the first batch, so we haven't seen any real benefits there. I am probably not keeping a tight enough eye on the heat in here. I haven't been stringent on getting the temperature on a constant drop every day, so in the next batch we're going to work a little bit harder. We're going to make sure the heat is spot on. I think I got a bit relaxed with that because towards the end of last year I seemed to be nailing it. I just knew instinctively where to have them at, and maybe I just need to revisit that and nail that down. It mightn't be the issue, but the only way we'll know for sure is if I go back and absolutely nail it down and see does that start to improve the mortality rate. And that's what it's all about. It's not about being the best farmer in the world, it's about constantly trying to improve. That works for us here at the farm anyway, and with these, that's what I'm going to work on in the next batch. Here we've got the milk production team. Star's head of the team is Nellie, and then her right hand woman is Winnie. And let's see where the two kids at. Hey baby goats. Yeah, I've taken Nellie down to milking just once a day in the morning. I think it suits her and it suits me, so we're both in agreement with that. And I've started Willow training her. Sorry, Winnie, I keep calling her Willow. I started Winnie training her, so Winnie likes to get a little bit of nuts. I really shouldn't be feeding goats grains because they're herbivores, but I use it as a treat to get them to do what I would like them to do. And I've got Winnie used to getting a little bit of grain in the morning, and then what I do now is I put her grain in the stanchion and she hops up, and I just massage her udder as she's eating her grain. So in a couple of weeks when I start to milk her, it'll be totally normal for her and she'll be totally happy because she is a first kidder, so she would never have had been milked before. I did train her to walk with the lead as well. Up to now she just follows Nellie, but I've started training her to walk on the lead as well. So now we can walk them out to the pasture in the morning. Hopefully the weather starts to pick up. It's still, if it's raining outside, we keep the goats in here. They come in the evening. It's now evening time. We've taken them in and they stay in here for the night. We just can't leave them out without any cover. So here we are, we're out in backfield with our tree lanes. We've got these are our pears, we've got our red currants, black currants, pears. On that side we've got apple and strawberry, yes. Then off to our left we've got Eggmobile 2 with the layers. Off to our right we've got Eggmobile 1 with our layers. And in here we've got our broiler pens. So these guys are now 5 weeks old. Sorry about the shadow, guys. And look at this for relaxation. Really liking these pens. We had to do a little switch this morning because the wind started coming from the east, from this direction, which it typically doesn't. And as you can see, we weren't really geared up for shelter, so what we done quickly was we moved the second pen right up close, and pretty much all the birds moved into this pen, and it worked. And it gave me the idea that I should probably make some. I had the frame made for another chicken tractor, so I've got two sides already made. I might cover them in plastic and make it so I can stick them on to the left hand side should the wind change, and I could turn the whole chicken tractor around, but I'd like to just have that versatility. If the wind's changing, I can just stick on the side. You have to understand here, guys, we're in Ireland, and if you're not from Ireland or you're not used to farming in Ireland, it rains a lot, and we got a lot of rain last night. Temperatures are cold and wet. Broilers just do not do well in that kind of condition, and we did lose one bird last night, but I was very happy with how the pens performed. I think if they were in a chicken tractor I could have lost a lot more. So they've got way more space and it's really good, and the heavy tin on the roof is a great job. I really like that. Now some people would say, well, why do you use the bicycle wheels? Why don't you just use, it's just a chicken tractor, why don't you use a dolly to move it? And the reason why I really like the bicycle wheels is because you've got a lot of birds in there, okay? We've got 200 birds in this batch. So you can they could all be in one chicken tractor. The bicycle wheels lift it up like 6 inches off the ground, and you can coast over all the chickens, so you're not waiting to move everybody with you. And what's been happening so far, I'll video it some morning, we move the pen forward, all the chickens come running after it and get back in underneath it because it's typically might be raining and they want to get back under the cover. But I'm really surprised at how easy they transitioned. And like I said in previous videos, the reason why we don't go straight out to the system is aerial predators. So these birds are a nice size now. I don't think anybody's going to be flying off with them. So we do 3 weeks in the brooder, then 2 weeks in the standard Sultan style chicken pen, and then they move into these for the rest of their life. And I think that has just cracked the system for me. I don't have to worry about predators. They're safe in here. Aerial predators aren't going to get them. And look at that, happy chicken. And yeah, really like this system so far. I'll keep you posted on how it's going. It is more work, there's no doubt about it, guys. You know, if you want to talk about time and motion, it is definitely more work, but I'm happy to put in that work. I feel like the last 2 weeks for the broilers in for 75 birds in a 3x4 meter pen, it is tight. You can compare, yes, you can compare to what it is in conventional chicken production. It's crazy amount, but I'm not comparing to anybody. I'm comparing to what I feel happy with, and I think if I can make this work, it's going to be just way better. It will be more work on me, but I'm happy to put that work in. I think the quality will come through in the product and it will make for happier customers. We've got these guys inside a 50-meter poultry net, and our 3 lanes are 12-meter lanes, so we're practically like a 12.5-meter square here with our fence. Then we've got our chicken tractors, which are they're 4 meters long. So we start first back in the fence, then we'll move them tomorrow in the middle, and we'll move them the next day to the front, and that way we're getting equal spread of manure across the enclosure. And I wouldn't like to leave these pens in the one place for 3 days. The manure build-up and concentration in underneath them would be quite significant for the pasture to deal with. So we just roll them forward every day, just one length, and then once we get to the front of the fence, we move the whole fence forward. And the birds are very easy. Once you move the roller pen forward, they want to get under it again, and really easy to manage. Myself and John have been discussing. John feels that he could move these pens with the walk around, put on the wheels, push it forward, walk around, take them off, just as fast as he could move the Salton style pen with the dolly. I feel like I could move the Salton style pen slightly faster, but for the scale we're at here, like we've only got 3 chicken tractors and 2 roller pens, you know, so it's only a couple of minutes in a day, so it doesn't add significantly. If you were a massive poultry producer and you had tons of pens, and maybe this system just doesn't work for you because it's a bit more time consuming, but I definitely urge people to look into it. Birds have definitely a lot more freedom. And just up at the layers here, and this is a reality of poultry farming in Ireland. So we've had a lot of rain last night, and this bit of the pasture hadn't totally healed up from last year, and these birds were just let out in this morning, and it's totally turned to mud, and that's just something I have to deal with. It really pains me to see that, but it's the beginning of May now. I know once I move these birds on, if we get a couple of dry days, I will spread a bit of grass seed on that, and even if I didn't spread grass seed, there's grass seed there that will heal up. It's I suppose a necessary evil. I look at the benefit the birds bring to the pasture throughout the year outweighs the bits of damage that we do in the shoulder seasons because it's too wet. And I just have to be careful and manage this. But that's the reality of pastured poultry in Ireland, guys. If your land is anyway wet, poultry are just going to turn it to mud in a very short space of time. So you have to be mindful of that and manage it accordingly. Here's another example of, I think this was maybe a wheel rut where I got stuck with the Agmobile coming in last winter. I never really got it healed up right. And then the chickens came along and they just turned it to absolute soup. But it looks bad now, but I know in less than 4 weeks, if we get a spell of good weather at all, I'll get this healed up. I'll get some grass growing on it. Remember, I'm not coming back here for 45 days. So, and if I'm not happy with the recovery, I'll skip over this section and I'll get it fixed up. Every year, the first year I had birds was really wet and I'd done a lot of damage, but every year the turf, the sod seems to be getting, every year the grass sward seems to be getting stronger and stronger, and I see less of this. So I do see the poultry as overall their benefit is nearly unquantifiable for me. They have a massive benefit in the pasture, and this is just a small side effect that we can sort out. And next year, if we build up some more soil on this, build a better sod on it, it'll happen less and less, and hopefully in a few years time, even with wet years, I've got a good water cycle and I won't see as much of this. But that's the reality of poultry farming, free ranging birds here in Ireland. So these birds done this in one day. I don't know how you can do a free range fixed house system in Ireland, guys. It just doesn't work in my head. I'm up here with the pigorators, and yeah, the mud has turned this into a bit of a mud bath. There's another thing with pigs here in Ireland. They can be so disruptive in the wet weather. I don't mind this patch getting really beaten up because we want to clear it out and then we'll be leaving it for a long time. So I'm okay with that. Hey guys, these are beautiful pigs. Hey guys, you trying to eat my shoe? These are lovely girls. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, you're so nice. And we're just working slowly, so we've cleared all this area here. They've taken me up on my offer. The pigaloos now, the first really wet night, they were all in there cuddling. They all sleep in one of them, so the 4 of them pile into one. They're soon going to get too big to all fit in there. They'll have to go 2 and 2. But we'll be moving their houses now further over, so we keep moving the feed and the water further into the brambles and move their house as well, and that encourages them to clear all this. Hey piggy piggy. Hello piggy piggy piggy. Hello piggy piggy. Hello piggy piggy. Oh, I love pigs in the farm. Hey. These sheep are really settling in well. They're really loving the daily moves. We've pretty much been around the farm here now. This is the last paddock we got to graze, and then we're going to head off to the new farm, or Laura's farm as I call it, and yeah, these guys are really in the rhythm. You know, they're sitting waiting for their new paddock in the morning. If I've given them too big a paddock, they're just not fussed about moving. They're like, nah, we've got enough food here. And yeah, they seem like they understand holistic plant grazing very well. We've just been using the gobble-to-go as shelter for the sheep, and we put the goats out here during the day with the sheep, so they use the shelter if there's any rain. It's my brother-in-law is down there power washing the hull. We have this beautiful stone wall along the front of the farm, and it was all overgrown on the other side, so they've cleaned it up with the machine. And Ollie owns the farm, along with both my sisters and their two husbands. They own the farm, I lease it from them, and so they're going to clean up the front, put in a nice grass verge and make it look nice. Here's our ducks, and I love the ducks, but they're really skittish and really hard to like bond with. Practically can't, so I just come down here and watch them. And they're due to move now tomorrow morning. We've been on this for 3 days and we move along, but they have a real flocking instinct. They've gotten so big, we will be processing them in 3 weeks as well. Remember, these are 5 weeks old, guys. I'm really interested to see how they kill out, but I'm really happy with them. They're really no stress whatsoever. I come along, I close. They've just got this little shelter. It's just a little chicken tractor. They put themselves in at night. Now I come along, close them in, and let them out in the morning. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And again, if you're interested in what we're doing here at the farm, and you're really interested in starting your own pastured poultry enterprise, or maybe you've just started and you want to really nail it down, we're running our pastured poultry masterclass this June, and it's going to be absolutely action-packed. You're going to see everything we're doing on the farm here, all the principles about how we put together each enterprise, from the financial planning to the physically moving the animals around. We go through it all in detail, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really can't wait to just feel the buzz and the excitement of having people here and all the ideas and inspiration. It's going to be super, and I can't wait for it. So the link for that is in the description, and I'll see you in a video soon, guys.